Yeah, I'm going to go back and finish my rehab for the next couple weeks probably, and then get back into training, and away we go.
Robert was talking about how you've been running scout team and kind of given the defense fits doing it. How challenging was it to not be able to take what you're doing there onto the field this year once you got to the point where conceivably you could have gone out and played?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was bittersweet. It's fun to be able to go out there and practice. I think anybody that watched practice, there was excitement, and also the what if kind of hit you in the face pretty hard, because obviously if you saw what we were able to do, there's a lot of the what could have beens.
What is your message to Jets fans as we go into this offseason?
I mean, there's 31 teams that have long, troubling off seasons, and it's only one team that holds that trophy. We want to be that team. I just say, just stick with us as you will, and it's going to be a long off season for all of us. So look forward to getting back here in April or whenever we get back out and start building the excitement like we did last year, and hopefully have a little more good fortune injury-wise.
What's it going to take to be that team that hosts the Lombardi Trophy?
Yeah, I think we need a couple more pieces, which anybody that doesn't host at the end of the season always needs probably one or two more pieces. But we're close. There's some tough decisions about certain individuals. But I think we got a core group of guys that's really solid. I think you saw a lot of great play this year from individuals. Some guys took some steps from years 1 and 2. I think there's a lot of great cornerstone foundational pieces to build around what you need. Great young talent, guys in their first contract, guys who just got paid, who played at a high level. We had 2 Pro Bowlers and a lot of other guys who could have been, but those are all on the defensive side of the ball, or our 2 specialists. So we need to make sure we get some of those guys getting the recognition and playing at the Pro Bowl level, all-pro level on the offensive side of the ball.
How does what happened this year for you personally affect your motivation now?
Well, I always have a lot of motivation. I think the greatest competitors can motivate themselves. You can find some inspiration from other people, and that's important. But as you get older, the training is kind of a lifestyle thing. It's not, you can't take like a month off and eat whatever the hell you want and be able to just pick it back up and get back into it as you could maybe in your early 20s. So, I'll go through kind of the usual end of the season detox, fasting, and then get into my training, finish my rehab at Elite and at Proactive, and then we'll be into the off season. I'll be training the whole time.
And we didn't get a chance to see the plan of you being the starter this year with Zach as a backup learning. Is that something you'd like to see next year actually happen?
That situation?
Yeah.
I'd like to be the starter, yeah.
The second part, though.
I love Zach, and I want what's best for Zach. And if he wants to be here, and if that's what's best for him, then obviously would love that. Love to have that relationship for another year. But I want what's best for him and where he wants to be. And sometimes a change of scenery, as I know, can be a breath of fresh air, and it's good to be able to have a new start sometimes. But I love Zach, and we'll still be connected, and we'll see what happens.
We were just talking to Robert a few minutes ago. He said he senses that you're on a mission, perhaps even more so than last year, coming into 2024. Is that how would you characterize that?
It's hard to say, Rich. This is yesterday was our last game, and today, it's the first day of the off season, toughest day of the year, just because the relationships that you form in the locker room are never going to be that with certain people because of the nature of this business, the transient nature of guys kind of going all over the place. So that's the tough part of it. But personally, listen, I think the most important thing that I've tried to do over the years in the off season, the early part, is to refresh, kind of go away, get your mind on other things, and I have rehab to look forward to and to finish up. So that's kind of what I'll focus on. But the fire is still really strong, and it just kind of grows as we get into February and March and April and get back here. And I'll be looking forward to seeing what changes happen and who we add in the draft and free agency, and then kind of trying to find a way to get everybody on the same page and get the positivity going, get the goal setting going, get the manifestation going, and then get this thing where it needs to be.
You
What
mentioned
will
the
be your
changes.
plan?
You mentioned the changes. Robert was telling us there's going to be no significant ones on staff. Meaning Nate's coming back, Jeff's coming back, everyone's coming back. When you were in Green Bay, there really wasn't usually much turnover. So how important is continuity to an organization, and how much better can this offense be now that everyone who is coming back has a second year with Nate?
Yeah, I mean, I think we need some pieces for sure. I think we need to. We had a lot of injuries up front, so we got to shore up the offensive line. That's important, and we need we need some more receiver help probably. But I like where we're at from a schematic standpoint and what I know I can do in the offense. But there's always changes. I think Nate and I will spend some time really taking a deep dive into the offense and kind of what we want to do moving forward. But there's always change as part of this business.
What will be your plan regarding coming back early or whatever with OTAs? You were here like when they got you straight through. Is it a similar situation this year, or you haven't mapped that out yet?
I mean, I haven't mapped it out completely. I'm sure there'll be certain things that'll require me to be elsewhere for some of the time, but I'd like to be here as much as possible. I mean, I enjoy living out here and enjoy the things that we get to do during the off season outside of the football part, and I think the football part's important at this point for me to be around as much as I can.
What did winning the Dennisburg Most Inspirational Award mean to you?
Well, I know a little bit about Dennis because we had an old trainer who used to talk about him, who was here and then went to Green Bay. And I know his story, and it was also voted on by my teammates, so that means a lot. Inspiration's important. Motivation comes from within, but inspiration can be garnered from everybody you come in contact with. So to be voted that, I was sitting up in my seat, didn't expect anything, and so I was actually got a little emotional as I was walking down and tried to kind of get down there as quickly as possible, so I wasn't, crying in front of the guys or anything. But yeah, I was touched by that award and thankful for my guys looking at me that way.
Your comment on McAfee last week actually made a lot of news. Do you want to address that any further? Do you have any regrets about what you said?
Yeah, I'm going to talk about it tomorrow on the show. Tune in.
Can you give us anything now? I mean, we're here right now. Can you just...
Yeah, check me out tomorrow.
Alan Lazar's had
McAfee, did I give you a raise?
Alan Lazar's had a difficult season. Just the conversations you've had with him, and what gives you the confidence that he can turn it around in 2024?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one relationship that I'm going to lean into this offseason. And, it's definitely frustrating for him. Him and I had a real good connection over the years from really his first experience on the field to him, finishing up there, being kind of our main guy. So I want to see him getting back to more of a positive mindset and feeling good about himself and his potential role in the offense. So I'm going to lean in to Alan. I have a lot of love and appreciation for him, but obviously this year didn't go the way that he wanted to, or obviously, bringing him in the expectations that were there.
Aaron, after all these years and all your experience, was there anything about this, though, that you learned that was unique that you'll take forward with you?
Well, I learned a lot about what happens on the headset. I learned a lot about resilience and dealing with adversity. It was a really difficult year. It kind of hit me last night after the game. Just feeling like a lost year and that I missed out on obviously a lot of opportunity. Just thinking if I'd been out there, things would have been a little different. It's hard to go down that road. the butterfly effect road. But naturally, as humans, I think it's a part of our nature to do the what-if game and to rue things that happened and to question why it happened and how it could have avoided happening. But I'm thankful for a lot of things that happened during that time and the relationships that were formed and the people that showed up for me. And, adversity can bring out the worst or the best in you, and I'm thankful for the lessons that I learned in the process of the sadness and frustration.
You mentioned this team needing some players, Aaron. You mentioned this team needing some players. How much of a role would you like to play in helping get them here, and how do you balance familiarity with this system and with you versus maybe players that you haven't necessarily worked with before and how they could still help this team?
Yeah, I mean, as much or as little as they want. I have relationships with various people across the NFL and friends and work out together with a lot of NFL guys. But, Joe and his staff have done a nice job over the years. So if he wants my help in recruiting, I'm available. I don't necessarily think it has to be anybody associated with this system. It's just, it's about character. I think we need maybe some characters on the offensive line. Some of the best lines we've ever have had some serious characters. I think about the 14 line, 5 characters on that. So I think, just bringing some high character guys, if they're characters as well, that'd be fantastic. But I think we're close, which is the exciting thing.
You said last year that you had considered retirement before the darkness retreat. Having the game taken away from you this year, has it changed your view on how long you want to play, your love of the game, anything like that?
Yeah, that's a good question. Definitely. I was, thinking when I got traded it was, going to be a 1-year thing. Then I got out here, realized how much fun I was having, and kind of fallen back in love with the game. And I said, I said to you guys, this is not going to be a 1-year thing. And then it gets taken away. And so this is not a 1 year in my mind. I mean, obviously, it's a what have you done for me lately, and I'm going to have to go out and prove I can still play at a high level. But I'd like this to be more than just next year.
Aaron, do you have to teach this team, or do you have to help teach this team how to win? I remember on Hard Knocks 1, you made a comment, we got to work on our manifestation powers, man. We're not positive enough. Is that something that this team still needs to learn about?
Yes.
How to win?
Yes.
Anything that you can add to that, or it's just going to take time?
I think yes is probably the best way to answer that.
Okay.
Aaron, you mentioned before about this feeling like a lost year. Does that sting a little bit more than maybe it would have if you were 27, 28, 29, as opposed to having a finite number?
Yeah, of course. And I dealt with 2 major injuries during that time period in 13 and 17. Those were frustrating years, but I had something to look forward to. I came back in 13. We won the last game of the year, made the playoffs. In 17, I battled back and came back and was able to play against Carolina. So that felt like there was victories in that, and that I was able to get back on the field and go out there and play for my guys. And this year, that's what I was trying to do, to get back by Christmas Eve at the latest. And unfortunately, we just weren't in it to allow that to happen. But, as much as I thought after that loss we would just put me on IR and move on down the road, again, that was a decision above my pay grade. But I am thankful for that ultimately, just to be able to get back on the practice field, salvaged, I think, some of the disappointment from the season. So also, proved I maybe can still play a little bit.
Aaron, how much are you?
Hold on, Steve, 1 second. We'll go you, Rich, and then Andy, then we
You said a moment ago, Aaron, still have to prove that you play at a high level.
Right.
Do you mean prove it to yourself or prove it to people out in the outside world who maybe, do you sense that there's some doubts out there that a 40-year-old quarterback coming off that kind of injury can be what he was a couple of years ago?
I wasn't really either of those two things, Rich. I would say it's more coming back next year and playing well is going to allow me to play another season. So obviously we're all going to be on the quote-unquote hot seat next year. It's going to be an important year for all of us, and I love that. I mean, I think that's fantastic. I mean, we should approach that every single year. It's a what have you done for me lately? If you have a down year, a bad year, there's going to be people calling to move on, and especially when you're 40 years old. So I'm going to go out there and play as well as I can, and obviously if I have the season I know I'm capable of having, and we have the success I know we're capable of having, then all that stuff takes care of itself.
Steve, you good?
Have you walked past the Lombardi Trophy? I know when you first got here, you talked about how lonely it was. Have you walked past it and noticed that how lonely it still is?
Yeah, I have. Still sitting in the same spot by itself.
Andy, last one.
Is that any kind of motivation for you, or added motivation?
Yeah, I mean, the motivation is a lot of stuff I've talked about. It's coming back strong from this injury. It's coming back at 40 in great shape. It's coming back and proving I can still play. It's coming back and proving that this offense works and can work. So it's all the motivation. I mean, I think we all find different ways to get ourselves in the right headspace, and that's a percentage of it. And obviously, but the first step is we haven't been in the playoffs in 13 years now, so we got to start with winning the division and taking that title away from the Bills.
One last, do you enjoy the fact or relish the fact that so much is riding on you?
Yeah, that's part of playing quarterback.
But before the season, you had talked about how the young guys needed to learn from what happened at the end of 2022. What do you think, just as a team, you guys can learn from what happened this year, especially like the stuff of being in the spotlight, like these guys really hadn't been before at this level?
Anything that doesn't have anything to do with winning needs to be assessed. So anything in this building that we're doing individually or collectively that has nothing to do with real winning needs to be assessed. Everything that we do has to have a purpose too. When you step in the building, there's intentionality with everything that you do. And it's not a half the time thing, it's not a sometimes thing, it's not a most of the time thing, it's an every time thing. If you want to be a winning organization and to put yourself in position to win championships and be competitive, everything that you do matters. And the bullshit that has nothing to do with winning needs to get out of the building. So that'll be the focus moving forward. That's the focus of these conversations. I think it's important when you have an exit meetings to create an environment where there's no judgment. It's a free conversation. Guys should air out their differences. We know there'll be a percentage of that that's just bitching for no reason. That's part of it. But I think there's some things that in every organization, and we did this for 18 years in Green Bay, the exit meetings are important to just get everything on the table that's happened, flush the bullshit that you need to move forward away from, and then refine your focus moving forward.
Thanks, everybody.